Hi everyone, my name is Sarah, and alongside my team members, Chris, Ronnie, Alex, and Beaufon, we will be presenting FabFitFun and its entry into South Korea.
So the company is founded in 2010. It's an American company that specializes in gift box subscription service. Its headquarters locates in Beverly Hills, California, and it has around 500 employees with the annual revenue of more than $300 million. It sends boxes to its members every 3 months, 4 times a year. The subscription box includes a selection of 8 to 10 full-size products from premium and emerging brands. Items range from a variety of aspects, such as makeup, fashion, skincare, wellness, and so on. Members can either pay $49.99 each quarter or $179.99 per year. The subscription process starts with customers picking up their first products, and then they choose the plan and enter their personal information. The company also holds the year-round flash sales, which allow members to buy new items with up to 70% off.
Our team chose to analyze the market entry opportunities for FabFitFun by using a variety of different countries from around the globe. The countries we chose to analyze were South Korea, France, Brazil, India, and Australia, all potential market entry opportunities. To directly compare the relative attractiveness of each of these countries, we ranked each country based on 6 different criteria using our research from our individual market analysis reports. The criteria we used were market potential, learning potential, the ease of entry into the market, ease of competition within the market, and the opportunities for synergies with current FabFitFun operations. Based on this direct comparison and weighting each criteria equally, we were able to identify that South Korea and France were the most attractive opportunities. Analysis a step further, our team decided to rank the criteria from most important to least important with FabFitFun's current operations in mind. The 3 most important criteria we identified were learning potential, market potential, and ease of entry. We think that learning potential is particularly important for FabFitFun, given that they currently operate in Western countries, and we believe that they have a lot to learn to become a globally dominant brand. Market potential is also important, given that if FabFitFun will allocate resources to entering a new market, it needs to be worth their while. And ease of entry is also very important, given that FabFitFun is a relatively smaller business, and they may not have as many resources to allocate to entering the new market. With our criteria weighting in mind, we decided to plot out the strategic importance of the markets on the y-axis with the ability for FabFitFun to exploit the market on the x-axis. As we can see, we've decided to go with South Korea as the most attractive market entry opportunity, given the significant learning potential that it would provide, and also the market potential in the country and also in other Asian countries which surround it.
FabFitFun could enjoy several key opportunities when entering the South Korean market. To start, there is a huge learning potential for them in this market. The local consumers are very demanding, which requires FabFitFun to step up their game in order to succeed in this new market. However, they could benefit from this in the long run, since they will be able to delivering top quality products. Next, the South Korean companies are showing strong R&D efforts with regards to including natural ingredients in their products, and they're also specialized in producing top quality skincare products. FabFitFun can use this opportunity to absorb these insights and spill over this knowledge in its current practices and current operations. Moreover, FabFitFun can learn from South Korean companies because they are very much used to working with innovative technologies. To continue, there are 2 factors that make the South Korean market an attractive option. First of all, e-commerce is very popular in South Korea. This is crucial for FabFitFun since their entire business model is dependent on online sales. Next to that, in January 2021, all tariffs on trade between the US and South Korea have been removed. This is extremely useful since FabFitFun already has operations existing in the US, which would facilitate any future trade between South Korea and the US. Of course, expanding into the South Korean market also comes with some key challenges. First of all, FabFitFun has no local knowledge on the market. This could give them a competitive disadvantage compared to local companies in the industry. Linked to that, the environment is currently highly competitive. Therefore, FabFitFun will certainly not be able to enjoy a first mover's advantage while having to gain trust from local consumers. Finally, the institutional environment is unfamiliar to FabFitFun. In order to gain minimum acceptance, they must ensure to comply with local rules and regulations. Moreover, they might have to consider redesigning its packages and marketing because of the existing language barriers.
Thanks, Ronnie. I'll now be jumping into the mode of entry. After conducting a thorough analysis, we believe the best mode of entering is a greenfield entry. Due to the nature of FabFitFun's business model and the lack of experience in similar markets, we believe it is important to create an Asia subsidy to truly understand the Korean consumer. As of now, all boxes are curated from the LA headquarters and are shipped from the LA warehouse to the US, Canada, and the UK. However, due to product adaptation, in which we will dive into deeper later, we believe sourcing products in LA and Seoul would appeal to the needs of Korean beauty consumers. By moving into South Korea through a greenfield entry, we believe the best structure would be a decentralized federation. Due to the cultural distance between current operations in South Korea, it's important to have a high use of local managers and adapt policies and procedures to the local environment. Nobody understands and knows South Korea better than the locals, and they will be able to help FabFitFun navigate this new entry. To add, with adaptations from the LA headquarters, having the power concentrated in the local subsidy should prove to be effective, as well as low communication to give the South Korea subsidy the independence they need to be successful, otherwise known as a hands-off approach. An important functional area for FabFitFun that is particularly important is supply chain and supply chain management. South Korea has a flat 10% VAT on all imports and domestically manufactured goods. A special excise tax of 10 to 20% is also levied on the importation of certain luxury items and durable consumer goods. Due to the high taxation seen on many of the items found in the FabFitFun box, it will be important to include limited imported products. The supply chain that is currently being used will need to be modified considerably, as new products will be incorporated with big names in K-beauty such as Innisfree and The Face Shop. Integrating K-beauty products that are deemed successful into the US, Canada, and UK boxes can prove to give FabFitFun an amazing learning potential. Finally, the supply chain that is integrated in LA, where the boxes are assembled, should be moved into South Korea to avoid the tax on imported goods. The localized production will assemble the boxes before they are sent out.
There are 4 recommended product adaptations FabFitFun should consider in their expansion to South Korea. The first adaptation involves partnering with Korean skincare and cosmetic companies to include their products within the boxes. South Korean consumers are sophisticated and demanding, so FabFitFun must provide product offerings that live up to these standards. The cosmetic industry in South Korea is also heavily influenced by and ingrained in the country's culture. By leveraging these home market brands, FabFitFun will be able to connect with the country's cultural components. They can also leverage the strong innovation and agility of South Korean skincare and cosmetic companies. Another growing trend among South Korean consumers is demand for all natural and organic products. This adaptation can be tied to the inclusion of K-beauty products in the boxes by specifically selecting those with clean ingredients. It is important to note that South Korea has strict laws around labeling cosmetics, so transparency on ingredients is a requirement. Using home market brands will help mitigate this challenge. Another potential adaptation is expanding into men's skincare segment, since there is a growing demand for these products. Lastly, FabFitFun must adapt to their current blog platform to include content for Korean consumers. They'll have to translate the current content to make it accessible, as well as developing new content that appeals to this market. Potential partnerships for FabFitFun include Dr. Jart, Laneige, Innisfree, and The Face Shop. These brands have seen great success in South Korea and on a global scale, with many of their products popularizing in North America. Not only will these partnerships provide FabFitFun with brand equity and culturally fit product offerings, but it also creates further exposure for South Korean brands in North America if there's cross-country product integration. Evidently, there are dual benefits for both FabFitFun and their potential partner brands.
Here we have a recommendation as to what a South Korean Summer 2021 FabFitFun box could look like. This box includes many amazing K-beauty products as well as some American products that helps FabFitFun differentiate themselves.
The data in this chart was taken from a study done in 2017 on Korean behavior regarding cosmetics. Although women's product use frequency is higher across almost all categories, you can see that men's product usage matches in three main categories: toner, sunscreen, and milk lotion. Adaptations could be made to develop a simplified box with fewer products at a lower price point with these highly used men's products. In terms of adaptations to FabFitFun's blog platform that is exclusive to their members, cultural adaptations are key to create the same value for South Korean consumers. Aside from the necessary translations, features of South Korean influencers such as Pony Makeup could be a useful way to highlight new products and garner brand awareness. Pony Makeup is a popular YouTuber in South Korea and is well known for her videos about K-beauty. The inclusion of influencers like her would help create valuable content and engage South Korean consumers with the online platform. FabFitFun could also include content from American YouTubers who make YouTube videos on K-beauty to bridge the cultural gap and allow Western consumers to learn more about these products. This blog platform could provide a useful avenue for both Western and Korean consumers to learn more about each other's cultures, favorite products, and lifestyle habits, as there is a clear shared interest from both groups. With the 95% internet penetration rate in South Korea, our team proposes a robust digital marketing campaign to gain awareness and penetrate the South Korean market. This marketing strategy involves a three-prong approach. The first aspect is influencer marketing, which would use South Korean influencers to gain awareness and brand equity. The second component involves leveraging word of mouth and user-generated content. South Korean consumer behavior indicates that reviews and recommendations highly influence purchase decisions. Lastly, FabFitFun must consider that South Koreans' most used search engine is Naver, so SEO and SEM must be adapted to this platform. FabFitFun should use a South Korean influencer as an initial spokesperson to get them off the ground and gain traction in this new market. This will help gain brand equity and trust with Korean consumers since pop culture has strong nationalistic ties. This parallels FabFitFun's initial launch strategy in the US as they leveraged Juliana Rancic, a television personality and co-anchor on E! News, to gain initial brand awareness and buzz about the company. They should then phase into consistent influencer marketing, such as using sponsored posts and videos on Instagram and YouTube, highlighting the product. This would involve a variety of micro and macro influencers posting on Instagram and creating sponsored YouTube videos. FabFitFun already has a strong foundation and strategy for paid acquisition on a variety of platforms, including Facebook, YouTube, Pinterest, and Instagram, ultimately demonstrating the feasibility of the recommendation and existing capabilities for efficient implementation. Now this image is from a MAC Cosmetics advertisement that had Lisa, a member of Blackpink, a K-pop band, endorse their new cosmetics line. This is one of MAC's highest performing posts, demonstrating the robust effects that influencers, celebrities, and their accompanying fan bases can have on brand awareness and sales increases. Korean consumer behavior trends demonstrate an inclination to checking reviews before purchasing a product. This is why many Korean companies leverage influencer marketing. Other tactics and strategies to address these consumer preferences are leveraging word of mouth and user-generated content. Our goal is to build a positive community that demonstrates trust through online reviews, articles, and posts by well-known individuals. By reposting customers' positive brand experiences, whether that is a review or the consumer actually using the product, FabFitFun can highlight the ease of purchase and delivery, quality of products, and efficiency of customer service. They should also ensure that the customer service experience is tailored to Korean cultural norms, specifically in terms of formal greetings and showing signs of respect. This will help mitigate the risk of a poor review, blog post, or article ranking highly on a search engine results page, which could be a major hindrance to expansion and market penetration. Naver has a significant portion of the South Korean market in terms of search engine usage. Many of the specifications for content that can be advertised are quite complex and require strict adherence to regulations. The search engine also populates search results and advertisements much differently than Google. First and foremost, we would recommend putting the autonomy for this marketing component in the hands of the South Korean subsidiary managers. In order to roll out advertising, there are requirements of a website to be in Korean. There must be contact information as well as a Korean business registration with a physical address. Many of the technicalities are likely unfamiliar to Western managers, and registration must be done by someone who is fluent in Korean. Nevertheless, there are several components that FabFitFun can engage in to improve their SEO and SEM in Korea, including brand search ads, content ads, shopping searches, and website search ads. These types of advertisements are key to building awareness for FabFitFun's e-commerce store, which is the only sales channel they will be operating in South Korea. If SEO and SEM are done right, they can produce high-yield results, drive web traffic, and result in increased conversions.
The first risk we see with our recommendation to move into South Korea is the market saturation of beauty subscription boxes. In the past 2 years, 2 smaller players have left the market. Both JoBox and Inspire Me Korea issued their last boxes in March 2020 and 2021 respectively, as seen on this slide. This poses a risk to FabFitFun as the larger players hold much market share and customers may be reluctant to change subscription boxes, especially if they are subscribed to a 1-year subscription. In order to mitigate this issue, FabFitFun must position itself in a way that doesn't make them direct competitors to the large K-beauty subscription boxes that are available in the market. As much as Korean beauty consumers love K-beauty, they also love a lot of American products, as the high tax rates make them a luxury in South Korea. This being said, FabFitFun should position themselves as a North American beauty box that includes K-beauty items to make the consumer purchase less risky, as they will have some familiarity with it. This being said, they will no longer be a direct competitor in the lifestyle subscription boxes in South Korea. A second risk that we see with our recommendation is the high taxes on imported products. South Korea levies a 10% VAT in addition to a 10 to 20% on certain imported products. This tax regulation makes most of FabFitFun's products a luxury in South Korea due to the price inflation. In order to mitigate this issue, as discussed in our supply chain analysis, we will look to set up local production as much as possible to try and keep the cost low and competitive. This will include setting up a warehouse in South Korea that conducts box assembly, as well as sourcing the majority of products from South Korea. Only a small number of products will be sourced from California to limit the amount of taxes. Our short-term goals for FabFitFun's mode of entry into South Korea is to first set up operations. This includes the Asia headquarters and the warehouse. Once this is complete, the marketing plan outlined will be rolled out and South Korean consumers will be targeted. Our medium-term goal is to capitalize on the learnings from the South Korean market and integrate them into the LA headquarters for worldwide learnings. To add, further tweaks should be made to the supply chain to gain economies of scale. Finally, our long-term goal for FabFitFun is to move into other Asian countries. The top countries which we hope to move into in the coming years include China, Japan, and Singapore.